The state funeral for Queen Elizabeth II will take place on Monday, September 19, at 11 a.m. local time, 8 p.m. Monday night AEST, Westminster Abbey in London, after the public gets an opportunity to pay their last respects to the monarch. Elizabeth, the nation's longest reigning sovereign, died Thursday at her summer retreat in the Scottish Highlands. More specific details on the 96-year-old Queen's funeral will be released later, but palace officials said the ceremony will be a fitting farewell to one of the defining figures of our times. Read more. William, Harry, Kate and Meghan reunite after the Queen's death. There will be opportunities to see the late sovereign's oak coffin on its journey from Balmoral Castle in Scotland to St Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh and again in London, where her body will lie and stayed for 4 days starting on Wednesday. Royal correspondent Dickie Arbiter has confirmed the coffin, which will be accompanied by Princess Anne, will be returned to England accompanied by RAF aircraft, and not by train as earlier anticipated. It will be the first time in history that the coffin of a British sovereign has been moved by a plane. The funeral will bring about the biggest policing operation in the UK's history, with enormous crowds to converge outside the service, which about 2,000 dignitaries and notables will attend. Royal tradition has previously dictated funerals for British kings and queens be held at St George's Chapel in Windsor. However, the Queen said she wanted to break from tradition to have her funeral held in Westminster Abbey. Many details of the funeral are yet to be confirmed, but here's what we know so far. Read more. Here are the new titles the British royal family will now receive. When will the funeral be? The funeral will take place on Monday, September 19 at 11 a.m. London time. In Australia, it will be early evening, approximately 8 p.m., when the funeral starts, and it is likely to extend through the night. Where will it be? The service will be held at the historic Westminster Abbey in London. It is where the Queen's coronation was held in 1953 and where she had married Prince Philip in 1947. Queen Elizabeth II's funeral will be the first time a British monarch's funeral has been hosted at Westminster Abbey since 1760. Read more. When to expect the coronation of the new king who will attend the funeral. About 2,000 special guests will be invited to the funeral. It is expected that all senior members of the royal family will attend. King Charles III and Camilla, Queen Consort, will be accompanied by the King's sister Princess Anne, Prince William, and Kate, along with his brothers Prince Andrew and Prince Edward. Prince Harry and Meghan are also expected to attend the funeral. The Queen's funeral will be live-streamed on television and online for those not invited. Millions of people are expected to convene in London outside the funeral. Security expert Simon Morgan, who was Her Majesty's personal protection officer for 6 years, has said the crowds are expected to surpass the mammoth crowds seen for the Princess of Wales' funeral. Explained, day-by-day guide from now until the Queen's funeral. He told Today this funeral will be the biggest policing operation that UK policing have ever undertaken. Despite various things that have taken place in this country before, this is going to be very much off the scale, he said. Morgan said the Metropolitan Police Service would run a massive operation which they had been preparing for over many years. We are going to have so many dignitaries in one place at the same time, so we have a very big security role in relation to them. We also have a very large public safety role where all of these people are going to descend on London, and they are going to wish to pay their respects in turn when the Queen lies in state for 3 days and then for the funeral itself. It is going to be a massive operation for the police. Read more. The life and achievements of Queen Elizabeth II. How will the funeral run? The Queen's coffin will be moved from Westminster Hall to Westminster Abbey on the day of the funeral. It is expected the funeral will begin about 10:50 a.m. local time, and will finish about 12 p.m. Read more. Strict rules for world leaders at royal funeral. What happens after the funeral? After the service, a gun carriage procession will take the coffin back past Buckingham Palace, arriving at Hyde Park Corner about 1 p.m. The coffin will then be moved onto a hearse and begin its journey by road to Windsor Castle, where a committal service will be held at St George's Chapel about 4 p.m. At the end of this service, the coffin will be lowered into the royal vault. A private burial will be held with the King and other members of the royal family that evening, and the Queen will be laid to rest. The day after the funeral, flags across the UK will be returned to full mast and the national mourning period will begin. The time will be determined by the British government. Read more. Australian public holiday announced to mourn the death of Queen